Welcome back to the Hot 7 Nightly News. Thank you for staying with us. The president of the Vendors Association is calling on the Castries Constituency Council to put an end to what he says has been continued disrespect. The president says the blatant disregard for the association as the appointed voice and champion of vendors' cause is untenably egregious. Solange Alfred reports.
As vendors gear up for the first phase of the relocation to the old fire service headquarters near La Place Carinage, talks of disapproval of the location by the vendors have been circulating through the grapevine. President of the Vendors Association, Peter Ras Ipa Isaac, says that lack of consultation and an attitude of superiority on the part of Mayor Peterson Francis is the cause of this buzz of disapproval.
The MO of this Mr. Peterson Francis is that he always decided from long ago that he's going to slight us and don't deal with us, don't consult with the Vendors Association to deal with the situation that affecting vendors. And maybe this thing could have been done in a better way where vendors would be able to understand the situation. Because when you come and you perhaps all you're doing is talking to vendors, talking at them, not talking with them and consulting with them. This is the kind of situation that causes this kind of chaos. You understand? That some people are for it, some not for it. If you had consultation with people, then in that way, people will be able to talk and iron out the situations and the pros and cons of whatever project you want to do and wherever you want to relocate these people.
Isaac says that many aspects of the vendors' craft were not taken into consideration with the proposed relocation. He notes that even structural aspects of vendors' stalls were not taken into account.
There are situations where people have huge little houses, little things with a bill to sell their goods and to display their goods. All these things they have to take into consideration how this thing is going to play out there, in the old fire spot. So this is the situation. The other one is the vendors who are selling on a Friday and a Saturday. Has they ever tried to take in the situation and deal with these people? Have they had discussions with them? No, they have not had any discussions with these people who are those vendors who are coming on a Friday and a Saturday. How are you going to accommodate them? Have he thought of that? And most of the time I know he doesn't. The reality about it is we need to consult people and consult organizations representing people. They may have vendors who the Vendors Association doesn't represent, but there are persons who represent there, and therefore then we should have been consulted to discuss these situations with the relocation.
Furthermore, Isaac says that vendors stand to lose large amounts of profit when customers decide to buy in proximity to where the foot traffic is, rather than making the trek to the old fire building. He called out Mayor Francis for what he described as him having a God complex, and Isaac notes that Francis' days as mayor are numbered. Reporting for Hot 7 News, I am Solange Alfred.
A new date has been set for the commencement of work on the Fairmont Hotel project in Choiseul. The groundbreaking ceremony for the project at Sabuisha was held back in 2018. Groundwork commenced, stopped, and recommenced, only to be stopped again. The project was touted as one that would not only bring much-needed employment to the southwest coast, but also enhancement of the physical environment of the Choiseul community. Commerce and Investment Minister and Choiseul Saltibus MP Bradley Felix says the government had no choice but to seek another investor, given the legal hot water that the previous investor became embroiled in.
With regards to the project, the Fairmont project in Choiseul, quite a few people have been making inquiries, rightly so, because the project should have started by now. However, there has been a change of developer, and we had a meeting with the new developers, I think it was in early February, and they have indicated that by August we should get some traction on the ground. So we are very hopeful. I am extremely hopeful because quite a few people in the community are looking forward to this project, basically for the purpose of employment, which is one of the major concerns we have down in the south.
The US $220 million hotel project was presented as a 120-room and 40 private residential villa development. The much-anticipated construction of the Millennium Highway and West Coast Road is slated to begin in coming weeks, though Prime Minister Alan Chastanet was not able to give an exact date. He did explain that the necessary documents are being finalized to ensure that speedy resolve comes about for the reconstruction of the new highway and West Coast Road to move ahead.
It's going really well. We're just finalizing the loan agreement with the Exim Bank from Taiwan. All the roads have been identified. Cost assessments have been done with the OECC and also our technical staff at the Ministry of Infrastructure. So as soon as we can now finalize the loan agreement, which should be very soon, we can start the disbursements of funds and we can then start with the program.
The government announced that a United Kingdom government-funded grant was secured in the amount of EC 115 million for the reconstruction. The project looks to address the issue of flooding, improvement of the much complained about road network on the West Coast, and according to the current administration, it is in an effort to bring a greater level of economic activity to the south of the island. Dr. Didicus Jules is addressing the local media on the ongoing Liat issue, saying that it is more complicated than it may seem. He says a lot of discussion is both needed and taking place behind the scenes in order to find a solution to the problem. Rochelle Gonzalez reports.
The Director General of the Organization of Eastern Caribbean States revealed that there is an ongoing and intense debate among heads of regional governments in relation to the numerous issues surrounding the airline Liat. In March, Prime Minister Alan Chastanet disclosed at a press conference that the ailing airline had reached out to his administration with a number of proposals. However, he said he was not willing to accept any deals unless there was significant restructuring of the airline. On Tuesday, Dr. Didicus Jules said the matter is extremely complicated and is in no way a straightforward task to deal with. He said the ongoing talks being held are important and helpful.
Because there are many dimensions to this problem. On the one hand, the fares need to be made cheaper. There's been some discussion of governments reducing the cost, but also there's the reality that airports have to be managed and funded. So it's not a simple matter to resolve. And I think the discussion among the heads will lead to ultimately a solution. Because one thing I know, all of the heads, regardless of what individual positions they hold, agree that Liat is vitally important and air connectivity is essential to the region.
Dr. Jules said the heavy taxation imposed on the airline by the different islands is indeed one of the many issues at hand. Towards the end of March, pilots and staff of the regional airline agreed to take a pay cut with hopes that this would aid in the restructuring of the company. Reporting for Hot 7 News, I am Rochelle Gonzalez.
You're watching the Hot 7 Nightly News. Stay with us. There's much more after the break.